This evening's course is an introduction to interproximal reduction with Garrison's new FitStrip. It's really just an introduction to the product. We will use a type-it-on here this evening and use a couple of the different FitStrip sizes so you can get an idea of what it looks like when it's being used with the handle, how the adjustment barrel works to change it from a straight to a curved shape. So first of all, brief introduction here. My name is Kevin. I've been here with Garrison Dental now since 1998. I was their third employee. Don't know if that's good or bad some days, but most days it's pretty darn good. It's a great place to work. We're right here in West Michigan, only a mile or two from the beach. And in fact, in the summertime, when the office windows are open, you can hear some of the big boats on the lake. So it's a pretty nice place to be. I've had a lot of opportunity to travel around the country and the world demonstrating different Garrison products with clinicians. It's given me a great opportunity to speak directly with literally thousands of clinicians, and they're asking questions and really teaching me how they're getting the most out of our products. So it's been a great opportunity, and I hope that we're able to share a little bit of that with you here this evening. As we're going through this evening, there is a question box on your GoToWebinar little browser window. Please feel free to type in questions as we go through the presentation, and we'll get to those at the end and go through them one by one. We should have plenty of time. It's not a incredibly complicated product, nor is the technique terribly difficult. So we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. It is not a CE event. We won't be sending out a questionnaire or quiz or anything. It's very informal. So again, as we go through the evening, please stop and ask us some questions. I'm going to switch here a minute to the video so that we can show you the parts and then demonstrate it here for you. Okay, now you should be seeing on your screen the FitStrip box. And essentially what I'm going to show you here, this is what you would receive when you purchase a FitStrip kit. The kit I have here is the basic introductory kit that has both the single-sided and the double-sided strips in it. The kit comes with a handy little card showing you the basic steps involved to achieve a certain level of interproximal reduction. And a little bit of text on the other side there. The other thing that comes in the kit, there's just a little instruction card here. Cleaning and sterilization instructions and so forth. So just basic stuff. You can't tell by the colors on here which ones are the single-sided and which ones are the double-sided. You have to actually take one of them out here to be able to tell the difference. The yellow is the fine, and this is the single-sided. Grab the double-sided. The double-sided is perforated to help clear debris away. So that's your clue there. A quick at a glance, which is which. You can see there on the screen which ones have the perforations in them. So, and the kit is going to, when it arrives, it should be in the order of fine to coarse. The two gray fit strips are the serrated blades, and of course the handles themselves, simply twist it to remove it, to put it on whichever fit strip that you're going to be using. So there's two handles, 10 pieces. You can get it if you're not doing interproximal reduction. You can get just a single-sided kit where there's two of each of the same single-sided pieces. You can also get it in a where all the pieces are double-sided. So if you haven't purchased one yet, you can go on the website and they'll offer all of those options for you. So let's take a look add a strip here a minute. Get this out of the way. Get this a little closer. There we go. So this looks, at first glance, very similar to a lot of the different interproximal finishing and interproximal reduction items that are available on the market. Basic strip with plastic handle. One of the key differentiating features here is this little barrel in the center. You see I rotated that, and now I've curved that, and it's locked in that curved position. Or I can straighten it out again with a few twists or anywhere in between. So that is the real key here. That saves a lot of hand fatigue from you as the clinician having to hold it. I've seen some of the other products out there where you have to squeeze the strip in order to hold it in a curved position, or squeeze a different part of the handle of the strip to get it into a straight position. So this, it locks either way to alleviate that issue, having to hold it in position. If you're doing interproximal finishing, like say you've got a little bit of overhang, you've done a class 2, you've got a little bit of overhang or a little bit of flash, and you want to clean that up, you're going to want to use it in the curved. That up again. You'll use it in the curved position so that it can follow the contours interproximally. If you're doing a contact reduction or stripping interproximal reduction for, well, let's say Invisalign or 6 Month Smiles, one of those types of products, then you will use it in the straight, locked straight position. So curved for interproximal finishing, cement removal, flash removal, that sort of thing, and straight for IPR. I'm going to grab one of the little handles here a minute. The handle simply screws in, snugs down, and it can go in either side of the strip. That doesn't particularly matter if you're using the double-sided strip, but certainly if you are using the single-sided, you're going to want to put the handle on the side that allows you to put the abrasive material towards the tooth that you're working on. Or if you do prefer, you can remove the handle and not use it at all. But I think that, again, is one of the key things that gives you a lot of control of the strip, and again alleviates a lot of hand fatigue. So that's pretty handy. The kit comes with 2 of the handles. I believe the refill kits, the ones that have 10 pieces in them, have handles with them as well. There are smaller refills. I don't think they have the handles in them. So you've got some options there. So let's take a look then at what we're going to do here for basic interproximal reduction. So the first step, again, we're going to do the anterior portion here as if you're doing, again, Invisalign or 6 Month Smile. And when you get your case information back from the company, they'll give you an indication of how much to reduce each interproximal space by, how much to reduce each tooth by. And most of the companies have like little feeler gauges, a little guide that you can use after you've stripped out some of the material. You can use that feeler gauge to confirm that you've reduced it appropriately. So what we want to do is we're going to break the initial contact with the serrated strip. Just tiny little serrations along the edge. And generally, you're always going to want to use the serrated strip in a locked position, not in a curved position. So you'll start out with just a light sawing motion between each of the teeth to make sure that just that little bit of contact has been removed. And then you'll advance to the single-sided, which which is the extra fine. Again, when you're doing IPR, you're going to use the strip locked in a straight position. So let's see what side I've got here. I've got that side. But I don't know if you can hear that. It's taking just a little bit off that side. I want to quickly, before I switch to a coarser strip here, mention that if you're doing contact reduction, maybe again you've done a class 2, the contact's a little bit too tight, or you're doing a little bit of finishing interproximally, you'll want it curved. However, it's easier to get the strip in initially if you've got it locked straight. So if this were a class 2 that you completed, contact's a little too tight, you'd want it locked straight and then curve it. What can happen if you try to insert it through a contact and it's curved, you can get this, unfortunately, you can get it to bunch up and bend. So you want to initially get it into place when it's in a curved position. So now I'm going to flip this to the other side and go back through, take just a little bit off the other side. And you can see it gives you really just great control with the handle on there. The farther back you go, of course, you may run into a situation where the handle is going to be in the way. Again, you just remove it. Or if you can get your assistant, or you can just retract that cheek as far back, you should be able to get pretty far back before you run out of space. So then I'm going to advance to the single-sided red, which is the medium grit. Make sure that's locked. Start over here again. And it takes off just a little bit more. Of course, the contacts are never particularly tight on the Typodont. Okay. You can flip it. In fact, you can see the material here that's been removed. Okay, so rather than going through and advancing through 4 more steps, you get the gist of what we're trying to do there. The last step that you want to do, though, when you're very, very close to achieving the desired separation, you want to go back through with the fine grit and smooth it off. Let me grab the green one, the super coarse. You'll be able to hear this. You'll be able to hear how coarse this is. You can hear that. That's really coarse. That's going to leave a fairly rough surface interproximally. So you want to just smooth that out a little bit before you take it any further. So let's see here. The double-sided pieces give you the greatest amount of reduction, as you do have the metal of the piece of the strip itself is thicker, but then you add in the coarse or extra coarse material on both sides, and this is up to 3/10 of a millimeter in one pass. So again, listen to how coarse that is. You want to go back in again. You're going to want to smooth that out. In fact, you can see here the material that we've removed from both sides. So, okay. So that's the basics, very basic, obviously, of interproximal reduction. Again, a couple of other great uses if you're seating a lot of crowns and bridges, and you get one in that is a little bit too tight, I wish I had that on the typewriter here so I could show you. What you would use, again, you're going to use the fine for a lot of your work. And in fact, that's the #1 reorder refill is the fine. So let's say this was a crown instead of a little MO like that. And you've got the crown in from the lab. It's a little bit too tight. Contact's not where you really want it. Again, you're going to keep this tight. You're going to take the crown out, slide this in, place the crown, start getting the crown placed, and then reduce the crown ever so slightly with some downward pressure until you get it to pop in. So it's kind of a two-pronged attack. You're not necessarily going to seat the crown and then reduce it. Slide the strip in place and then place the crown and reduce it a little bit. So let's see. We've got a few questions here. In regards to IPR for orthodontics, what's the best way to describe IPR to patients? That's a really good question. What I guess I would be trying to do is, they need to understand that in order for the teeth to get moved into the appropriate positions, that the width of the tooth may need to be adjusted. And certainly we've seen plenty of cases, post-treatment where because IPR was not done, the contacts are so tight that you get some movement again after the fact. Something will pop out of place because there's just not enough room for it. So, back in the day, they used to yank a lot of teeth in order to make room for that. That's kind of the non-conservative way to do it. I think nowadays, with a little bit of IPR, that should allow for those teeth to sit in a natural position once the treatment is completed. Okay, can these go through the autoclave? Absolutely. What you'll do is ultrasonically clean them and then run them through the autoclave. As far as the useful life, again, it's going to depend on the cases that you're doing. If you're having to do IPR on an entire upper and lower, that's going to use a lot of the abrasive material. So it's a diamond strip, so they do last. And you should be able to feel if you're just not getting, you feel that it's not getting, have the abrasive anymore to do the reduction. IPR is considered safe for the long term. That I cannot answer for you. I am just not aware what the literature says currently about that. Uses out of each strip, 10, 15 uses are pretty common. Again, if you're doing a reduction on a zirconia crown or something like that to provide a little bit more room, contact's too tight, it's a little bit harder on the strip. Yes, you can get, the question here is, do you have a kit of all serrated strips? Absolutely. Let's get these guys back on the screen here where we can see them. Blue, let's see, yellow, red, blue, green, gray is serrated. You can get 10 packs with a handle or 4 packs without a handle of all the same pieces. Again, the yellow super fine is the most commonly reordered one. So there again, I think the best way to go is the combination intro kit, because that gives you options for both the double-sided and the single-sided. And then as you start to use the product, you'll see the ones that you're going to use the most of. And oftentimes, it'll be the yellow that you ordered for refills, but you can get them all in one particular color, serrated or not serrated. How often do one of the strips snap? I have heard of that. I don't have a number for you on that. I have seen, and the recommendation from folks that have had that happen is they've had it happen when they're trying to insert the curved strip through a tight contact. You want it to go in place straight and then curve it if the contact is tight, and that will help it prevent it from bunching up as you move it back and forth. Does this create more of a flat contact if not done correctly? If you're doing IPR, yes, that's going to create a flat zone interproximally. If you curve it for like a contact reduction after a class 2, that should follow the curvature. I mean, that's pretty curved. And let me get it on the tooth here. Slide it in right here. You can see how that, tip it up. You can see it. You can see how that curves right to that tooth. So certainly the most pressure is directly in the center, so that's going to reduce a little bit more, but it will give you some curvature, and you can adjust it like this too to get, like if you've got flash right on the buccal or lingual edge of a restoration, you can get it to maneuver more towards the buccal and lingual by a little bit of a twist when it's curved like that. It won't twist like that when it's locked straight. Are the measurements of the strips on them? No, they are not on the strips. They are on, zoom out a little bit, turn this so it's not got that nasty glare on it. The measurements are on the card that accompanies the kit. Actually, I'm pretty sure this card is it's in a 10-pack refill too, isn't it? Do you think? Yeah, I thought that this IPR guide is provided with the refills and the kit. So you've always, and it's laminated too. So you'll always have that guide, and it shows you where you step it up from, 0.05 of a millimeter to 1/10 of a millimeter in those 3 steps to 2/10, 2.5, 3. Those are the largest sizes that we have of these right now. I'm not sure what the maximum amount of interproximal reduction that is indicated for certain products, Invisalign, if they've got a larger maximum reduction than 0.3. I'm not sure if they do or not. We are talking about potentially making some thicker ones. So, next question is, what is the best way to remove flash, which is gingival, interproximal on a class 2 composite restoration without opening the contact? The sandpaper strip is quite wide and tends to open up the contact in addition to removing the flash or overhang. You are correct, sir. That does happen. The strip, as you see here, I don't know what that measurement is. That looks like about 5 millimeters to me. One thing that you can do is, like with the serrated piece, you can get that down in there very easily. It is the thinnest of all of the strips. It's even thinner than the superfine yellow. So it's extremely thin. You can floss it down in between there, and then you can angle it a little bit to trim the flash right down by the gingiva. There is some talk potentially of making something specific for that, where the strip is maybe half as wide or is only coated on the gingival half, something like that, to lower that point, that abrasive point down below the contact areas. So right now, I think I would use the serrated one for that because because it's serrated and not abrasive on the sides. As you work it, the only place it's removing material is right along the gingival edge of that. And be careful with your downward pressure on that to make sure you don't cut the gingiva. How would these work for excess cement that may be stuck interproximal after placing the crown? That is one of the indications of use for the product. Again, cement removal, the serrated blade works pretty handily for that because you're not going to be abrading the surface of the crown. You'll be removing anything that is sticking out from the surface of the crown. So, screen for you. I do have a code that you can use. If you haven't tried one of these kits yet, you're certainly welcome to do so. They have a 6-month money-back guarantee. I believe the kit's $159. We're going to give you $10 off of that if you order it online. And there's a field on the order form during checkout that you can type that code in, that WB0317, and that will give you $10 off of that intro kit. And again, it does have a 6-month money-back guarantee, so you don't have to feel like you are stuck with it if it's something that you're not finding to your liking. So please feel free to try that out. We encourage you to give it a good workout, a good once over. And again, if you're not pleased with it, you just send it back to us. Hey, there's one other question here. Oh, tell him to open the contact with a wedge. Yeah, that's a great idea to prevent the abrading the contact surface and get the strip down below the contact is to create a little separation with a wedge. That's something that we do frequently when placing sectional matrix band and the contact wasn't broken during preparation. We use a wedge to facilitate the placement of that. So good tip there, Dr. John. Appreciate that. Okay, and again, if you've got any questions, please feel free to let me put that back up on the screen here. Let me get my email up there for you. Feel free to send me an email at kwalberg@garrisondental.com, and if I am unable to answer the question, we'll certainly get it to somebody who can. Okay? Thank you so much for attending. Appreciate your time this evening.